Hi, everyone. I'm Jamie Vaughn with CCM Magazine, and I am here today with our very special guest, Koryn Hawthorne. Now, Koryn, you know from The Voice, and now she's out with her second album, I Am, that just debuted at #1. Hi, Koryn. How are you?
I am so good and blessed to be here talking with you today.
We are very happy to have you. Now, how have you been feeling your time in 2020 as an artist?
Oh my God, this has been a rough year to say the least. I say this year sucks, okay? And I don't know, I think ultimately I just try to think about how in crisis or situations, like I'm just the type of person that's like, okay, but how do we fix it? How do I resolve it? And there's no way for me to fix this. So I was actually super grateful just as an artist and just during ministry that I was able to release like something during this time, because at least now I'm like, I know that this is helping other people and that helps me. So yeah, I'm happy that I got to release music, but still a little sad that I don't get to like be out with people, period. I think like I don't get to see my family as much. And so yeah, really excited about the world getting better, but yeah, we making it.
Well, we're on the way there. So I've noticed a lot of artists that I've talked to since we started doing these Zoom interviews, since we can't have y'all in the office, that they have said this music I was writing a year or two ago had no idea that it was going to be so meaningful for the moment that we're in now. Are you finding that with your album?
Definitely, for sure, like with more than one song. And I think that it's so humbling. Like, I mean, like, of course, I do this for ministry, I do this for God and to inspire and uplift. But like when you step into a different realm, which is basically like prophecy in a sense, it's
Yeah.
you make music for the times, which is, I don't know, it makes you take it more seriously and always want to be in a place where God can use you to that extreme.
Mhm.
So just listening back to the music, I'm like, I had no idea when I was writing this song, Pray, that we really was gonna need to pray in
Right.
2020. So
Right.
yeah, it's a humbling experience, but I'm still grateful. I'm grateful.
Mhm. Now, with being on The Voice and having this basically shot out of a cannon experience for you,
Mhm.
you could have gone the secular route, but you decided to stay with your Christian roots. Why is that?
Yeah. I mean, I was born and raised in church. God is not something that is new in my life. I feel like I've always had a personal relationship with Jesus since I was a young girl. And I've also always knew that I had purpose over my life since I was a young girl. So I feel like every single moment that I worked for up until now and I'll continue to work for has been strictly because of the plan of God over my life and his orchestration. So I knew, like, it was no question in my mind. What I didn't know was how, because
Right?
I come from a super small town and my mom did a very good job at like just trying to expand my territory with music and putting me in competitions and getting me vocal lessons and forcing me to go to auditions. But I never thought that I could do gospel music because I did have a different sound
Mhm.
and I didn't see a me in the gospel industry. So Lord, I love you, but I don't know if I'm gonna be able to make this type of music because that's not me. And being on The Voice definitely helped me to see that like I didn't have to be per se put in a box. Like
Right.
I sang many different types of songs that still were near and dear to my heart and inspirational
Mhm.
that didn't necessarily have the message of Jesus in it, but people still knew that I was a Christian. And
Mhm.
still to this day, I ask people, how did y'all know? And I never said it.
Mhm.
So I think that that was like a big pivotal moment in my life where God did something special there. And, I was on Pharrell Williams' team, and even he just was so fascinated with just my life and my background. He wanted to know, and he always encouraged me, don't ever change, continue to be who you are. And that's what we doing. It helps because when I left, I knew exactly what I wanted to do. And I still didn't know how it was gonna happen, and I didn't expect all the things to happen the way that it did. But
Right.
I'm super happy that I followed God's plan over my life because that's what's really important to me.
Well, I think you hit the nail on the head there with your career by saying that you didn't see you in that music world and that type of,
Hmm.
we don't need another so and so. We need you,
Yeah.
so everybody has
Yeah.
a different niche to fill, and we don't need to keep signing people that sound the same. We always need to be expanding. So you hit the nail on the head, I think, very much so with that. Now,
Yeah.
I can tell you this album is super fun. I really enjoyed it. You have gospel and pop and hip hop and R&B in there. My favorite songs are Know You and How Great. Those are the ones that really spoke to my heart this morning when I was listening to it. But you got to, on Speak to Me, you were able to sample Donnie McClurkin's Speak to My Heart. How did that happen for you?
So I remember going in the studio, and I know that every single song on this album was literally created the day of. It was no overthinking on this album. So I went in the studio, shout out to Troy Taylor, because he produced this track, and we heard the Donnie sample. And my A&R, Ron Hill from RCA, he was like, Koryn, you have to do this. It's a Donnie sample. Like, we got to do it.
Yeah.
And John T. Austin wrote this song. I sang it. And afterwards, it was like, okay, as a artist, I guess, like, we really try to just work and then think about the business side of things later. So the time came where they were like, Koryn, you're going to have to call Uncle Donnie and ask him if it's okay to use his song. So I called him on the phone and I was like, hey, Uncle Donnie, I want to do this song with your sample in it. And he just did not want to hear anything I had to say. It was just like, you know what? I don't care about that. You do whatever God is calling you to do. I don't care. Like, I don't need to hear it. You do what God is calling you to do. And I think that was like a moment for me to just be like, wow, like, I can only imagine a person of his stature with his success just so freely giving of your music. Okay, this is your craft and your ministry that you're allowing somebody else to take part of. And it just made me feel like I'm happy that he trusts me that much. And I hope that, like, he actually does like the song. And he's happy that he did actually listen to it and he likes it. And hopefully we continue on with the legacy of ministry, because I feel like that's what it should be about, the passing of the baton and just the ministry, the mantle. So I was super excited about that.
So you said that you created those songs day of. How did that happen? I mean, that to me, I would be terrified not kind of having a really set plan going into the studio. So how did that happen for you?
No, like, I'm completely different when it comes to that. Like, I work well, not per se under pressure, but kind of just like, I love for things to happen organically. And I think that that's going to continue to be like my way. And I think it also, I mean, I guess God speaks to everybody differently, but for me in the moment, this is like, it's no pre-planned thoughts, because even like some of the music on the album which Speak to Me is a song that people listen and question, like, is this a gospel song? Can I sing this to my husband? Can I sing this to my boyfriend? But the crazy thing about it was I had no intention of it being a crossover song, because they're playing this song on R&B radio.
Oh, wow.
But I had no intention of that. That was no pre-planned or thought. So moments like that for me, it's like, you know what? God actually has a plan for this, way past probably what my thoughts are. And I mean, I enjoyed it. It was easy, a little bit too easy to make these songs over the course of 2 weeks. Too easy, which makes me feel like this is, when they talk about God's season, His planning and His time, and then you just have to walk in that thing, because it will, not that you won't have trials and tribulations, but it should come to you easily because it's yours, you know? Yeah. So that's what it felt like. It felt good to me. And I hope that every single album has that type of easiness, because I don't know if I will always be able to make music this easily. I might get in a time where I'm like struggling for creativity, or have to really seek the face of God's heart to know what He wants for me to say in the season. But I'm grateful.
Good. I cannot believe that you just did that over 2 weeks as well.
That's crazy, huh? That's crazy.
So when the listener sits down, I know that we're in a very different time of how we consume music. But if somebody sits and listens to the first song to the last song, what do you want them to take away? What's the message in the heart of the album for you?
That's a great question. I think, like, we named the album I Am because, I've always been real big on identity. My mom has instilled purpose in me from a little girl. And I mean, you heard a little bit of my story. I think that I got to a place where I kind of started to doubt myself, especially coming into gospel and being so different and dealing with the criticism and people saying, oh, she's only here because she didn't go to secular music, and people not knowing, my life, my story. And that can take a toll on you. And even looking at what other people have, and you're like, but I'm not like that. So I'm literally the example of like difference. And I don't know. I think that I wanted to be to a place where I 100% believed what God said about me. And I walked in it wholeheartedly, because if the devil could get you to doubt, then he can delay. And I didn't want to delay anything else in my life. I wanted to also take that first step to hopefully be that encouragement for a lot of other people who may be experiencing the same thing. And I think I see that a lot with people who may not look the part, or they might not feel like they're qualified, or whatever the case may be, but you know that God gave you a word and he said it to you. But sometimes we psych ourselves out. And I hope that, I'm saying all that to say that identity is really important, and personal relationship with Jesus is important. And I think this album is that in a different way. You know, it might not sound traditionally how that might sound to people, but spiritually, I hope that it connects to people, the messages. I hope that it encourages people in a different realm. It might not be dead in your face, but spiritually, I hope that it connects people to their purpose, to their identity. And ultimately, it leads you closer to the heart of the Father. When you discover God, you discover yourself. So that's my hope for that.
Okay. Well, as a songwriter, what's your favorite lyric or song that you've ever written?
Oh, Lordy. So I did a lot of writing on this album. I don't know. That's hard.
I know.
And it wouldn't be my lyric, because I also wrote a lot with people. Like you said, Know You. I wrote that song with Stephanie Gersinger, who is just, I love her dearly. And she wrote this line that says, "Lead me, Lord, and I will follow. Bind my wandering heart to thee. There's no life without you in it. I want all of you, take all of me." And that right there just, oh Lord, that lyric right there, when I was so scared the first time I sang this song. This song in general is probably one of my favorites off of the album. And I'm just like, these lyrics are so profound that I don't even think I'm going to be able to sing them. Like, but I got through it. So yeah, that definitely has to be one of my favorite songs that I've written in general, is Know You.
Yeah. Okay, so flip that question around. Is there a song or a lyric that you hear, and every time you hear it, you're like, man, I wish I had have written that?
A song or a lyric? If I had to pick a song that I wish I would have written, it would have been All I Want for Christmas Is You by Mariah Carey, because she is going to forever get that coin for the rest of her life every Christmas. I wish I wrote that song.
And it's a great
I do. It is. I wish I wrote that song, and I'm going to stick by it, you know.
All right. All right. I love that answer. Love it, love it, love it. Okay. So as we wrap up our interview, is there a message of hope that you would like to leave for our viewers?
Definitely. I think especially in this time, if this pandemic hasn't taught me anything, it's that personal relationship with Jesus is so important. I talked about that a little bit. I think that I've been able to take this time to sit and address issues with myself that I may not have addressed in my normal life, where I'm moving day to day. And I started therapy, and I started realizing that like my mental health, my health was important. And also God put like a big burden on my heart in this time for people who deal with depression and anxiety. The suicide rates have gone up ever since the quarantine has started. And I just want to let people know that Jesus actually cares, and not just about the big issues, but he cares about every single area of your life. And I think that through me building my personal relationship with him in this time, old things that I've been through as a kid, that he's still like, hey, we still need to fix this, that you probably have let go and said, oh, it's not that big of a deal. I'm over it. I'm grown. I don't even think about that. But he's bringing it up because he still wants to heal those old wounds and make sure that they don't create new ones. So that would be my message of hope, is that Jesus cares. And a lot of times I think it sounds cliche, but no, y'all, like he actually cares about every single area of your life. So please take this time to build a personal relationship with him, because as I said, as you discover who he is, you will discover who you are. And he makes life so much better. Like, I promise, it's a win-win if you try it. It's no failure here. So yeah.
Well, Koryn, thank you so much for stopping by and talking to us at CCM Magazine. It's always a pleasure to catch up. And everyone, make sure that you go download, stream, buy the physical copy wherever you can. I Am by Koryn Hawthorne. Thanks so much.